Given what was covered in the show, and it was largely about the ET program and narrative, which is another mind control program of epic proportions at the moment. Another wait and see program, another disempowering program, and ultimately a non-disclosure program also. And yet, it's such an interesting subject, and it is what started me off in the alt media after trying to make sense of my own experiences from a young age. But being an observer, you start to see the patterns and the programs developing and playing out. And by 2011, it had become saturated with buy my book people, glamorized into a loose fest industry and packaged to draw in more of the mainstream, with shows like Ancient Aliens, which was not largely about disclosure, although it did have some, but it was more about wrapping people into a program, like the X-Files series as well. Again, it didn't tell us in the alt media anything new. And the only value of that was sitting with the non-believing people at the time with a smug grin on our face thinking, I told you so. But they'll always cry, well, it's just a fictional series. Yeah. You see, proof is and never will be enough for those people. They don't want to hear it. And essentially, the ETs became the new program after the New Age movement, which was spawned back in 1880s, failed. It was run in the 1970s and the 60s in a way. They knew back then that the religious program would start to fail, so they created a new one, the New Age, for the eventual collapse of the Western religions. The collapse happened, but the New Age never really developed the way the planners wanted it to. So they created a new one. And that was ETs, aliens and all things space related, with the added extra of external spirituality. There is a difference. And they thought they'd got it all cracked. Wrong. Sufficient of us saw through the illusion, culminating in that show we did with Randy last week. The whole ET narrative now is a glossy, packaged cottage industry. It's riddled with facts that are not provable. It's funny no one asks these people for proof like I get asked. But here's the kicker. You cannot prove what other people have experienced. You just can't. They're your experiences. You can't prove them, Even if people get a photograph, people say, oh, that's fake. People come up with the most ridiculous excuses even when they're given the proof. And then you've got the clickbait headlines delivering ET knowledge that, like I said in the show, that was largely all revealed in the alt media back in the 1990s. It's not new stuff. It's decades-old material repackaged like a loop system of regurgitating the same old. But you see, like sexes for the mainstream TV, ET sells for the alt media. And it's taken in an awful lot of money, and a lot of money off a lot of people, just to repackage old information. So in came the plethora of buy my books people in the community, more interested in selling than getting the truth out. All carefully marketed and sold to people to hear what they wanted to hear, but not what they needed to hear. Big difference. And for decades now, of course, the ETs, we've heard, are coming to save us, which is a repeat reprogram that was ran for near 2,000 years now, of Jesus is coming to save us. Repeat patterns, you see. Or the RV's coming to save us, or Putin's coming to save us, or heaven forbid, Trump will save us. It's all disempowering and a massive weight club program. And the real answer is none of them are. The real answer for who saves us is us, period. And it's time we all got off our backsides and empowered ourselves to save ourselves and others. That's what is real. The powers that were don't like to or want to hear that. Oh no. It's the last thing they want to hear. It's their biggest fear. I said it before. Because empowered people don't need them. The reality is we don't need them. But by source do they need us. They need us operating as slaves, harvesters, loosh and battery packages. They survive because we feed them. That's all. And then you've got the Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, Lyrans, various councils, Galactic Federation of Planets and Liars, Blue Avians, Sphere-Bear Alliance, the Angels, Michael and Gabriel, Agarthans and the SSP, for source sakes, all coming to save us. But I'm sorry, but they're not. They're just not. I said this back in 2013-14 time when I first started. And here we are, 2019, speeding rapidly towards 2020, and nothing. All of those mentioned groups, the ones that are real anyway, some of them aren't, have used us in many ways for their own ends. And I mean all of them. That may offend some people, but I talk in reality and from knowledge, not some fake channeler with Gray's technology mixed with AI talking bollocks, spouting condescending narratives like Dear Ones or Space Brothers and Sisters. The reality of their interactions with us has not been conducive to this vessel, soul or spirit package for thousands of years. Some ETs have helped, there's no question of that, and more so since the 2016 peace treaty. But if you think for 1 second they'd all landed to save us, bring us magic ET tech, we've got more of our own. Most of their tech's ours anyway. ET packages and magically fix our world. You're living in fantasy land. Because most of our interactions with other beings have not been conducive to humanity. And trust needs to be built up on both sides, long before the masses fully engage other beings, in my opinion. As exciting as it all sounds, meeting other beings, the reality is far harsher than most can imagine. For those who still wait for disclosure of ETs, those people need to snap out of your own amnesic program. You've already had disclosure. If you hadn't had disclosure, how do you know about ETs? Think about that. And it will not be some great big fanfare future event either. Yes, you, Cobra, or whoever is representing or controlling them these days. It will continue to be spoon-fed in tiny amounts over time. As the problem with disclosing ETs in a fanfare event is, it will expose the folly of the religious program. And the fact that these ETs have been misrepresenting themselves as the god or gods, and at this point in time, it's too big a scab to pick. Way too big. We have to learn to fend for ourselves, allowing fake gods and ETs, parents and covens to run us has been devastating for the progress of our species. The fact is now that this planet is now designated for humans to take their reign as the protectors of the planet and all of the species in and on it. It's up to us. Their old system and their old world is collapsing. We have to be ready to create a new world, a new system in our world. There is a more defined difference now.